Thank you for the introduction, Matthias, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk about the open BioMaps. So in the following, I will talk about, as Matthias mentioned, the open BioMaps platform, but mostly I will talk about data and data management things, and I also would like to talk about some criticisms against the citizen science, and this is a personal opinion I would like to share with you. What is the open BioMaps? It is 2 or 3 things. First, it is an idea to build bridges between conservationist researchers and education. This idea is now is more than 10 years old, and we keep running along this idea and do the developments and all the things related to the open BioMaps to follow this idea. The open BioMaps also free to use software, several tools, toolkits, different kind of software tools, which all of them open source, which can help to managing biodiversity data for researchers and conservationists. And we also keep running a free service with this platform and tools for those who have not capacity to keep running their own servers. There is a not too big, but very enthusiastic community behind the open BioMaps developers and users. We used to meet each other regularly. We used to organize developer meeting and user developer discussion, because this is a bottom-up project. So we not started to develop because there was a central funding or central support behind the open BioMaps, but we started to do this because there were needs to do something usable in this area. So we continuously follow the users' feedback to improve these tools. I mentioned that there is a service, a free service. The free service based on several servers which provided by institutes, different institutes, national parks and research institutes and universities. Here you can see a map which includes almost all servers, but maybe there are more, I don't know. These are the most important servers. Some of them provide public area for any kind of biology projects, and some of them closed and they just serve their own private projects for the users. Mostly the national parks, the servers running by the national parks are closed, and servers running by universities are open, usually. The most of our users, the open BioMaps users, are conservation-related projects, national parks. There are 9 national parks in Hungary from the 10 which decided to use the open BioMaps in their everyday work with data. They collect the data with the open BioMaps mobile app. They manage the data in the database interfaces, and now they started to analyze the data using some open BioMaps related tools as well. But there are also some association and different kind of conservation related project in Hungary and Romania. This is a list of the biggest project. And open BioMaps OBM is also used in research and education and citizen science projects. here you can see a list of the biggest projects. For example, the Hungarian Flora Atlas, or the DNA Bank, the Erosion Step, or the Kurgan database, which is also a big international project from Hungary to Eastern Asia. The Global Plover database is completely closed scientific project, but this is a global and big project, and there are lots of other smaller projects. I can follow all of them. Here you can see an impressive map of the geographical distribution of data stored and managed in Open BioMaps databases. It is a simplified map because the colors do not express the extent of the data, of course. So the most of the data is coming from the Europe and Asia, and the last parts coming from America and the other parts of the world. There are lots of data in Madagascar, thanks to a project a scientific project. So we provide mostly data management tools for professionals, not for citizen scientists. And I would like to share some screen and explanation what kind of tools is this. We have a map for displaying the data, map tools, and also we provide this map tools service as a background service for other applications. So the users, the researchers can connect with other applications, for example, QGIS or ArcGIS, to fetch this data and work in another application. This map tools provides several query options, and these are very flexible. It's really dependent on the needs in the projects, and there are lots of reporting options, which also very flexible and is not determined in the projects. Is dependent on the needs how people would like to put together their online database interface. Here you can see some screenshots of the Open BioMaps mobile application, which is, I think it's a very popular. It's relatively very popular. It's not so popular like the iNaturalist, but it's very popular in the Open BioMaps users. Thousands of data coming into the databases thanks to this mobile application. Lots of professional data collectors use this mobile application, which are available in Android and also in iPhones. This mobile application has an extremely flexible interface. It's really dependent on the interface, how people would like to use it, what kind of data collection they use, and the most of the data collection type which is used by biologists and the field is supported in this application, and is continuously developed and improved always. That's why it always contains lots of errors and bugs, but we try to fix these bugs always. And while we fix a bug, new feature requests coming, and we try to also import these new features in the application. This is an offline application, so you can download predefined structures, forms, and other things in the application, and you can work offline with the application, collect data, and upload the collected data when you have internet connection. So I mentioned that the flexible interface is 2 times. The background of this flexible interface is a very complex management interface. So the people can manage their database structures in a low level way. So they can directly manage the SQL structures. They can add tables, rows. They can change the metadata, the order of the columns. They can create custom data upload forms. They can set which columns, fields are obligatory and which are not, and how the content should be checked. Different kind of checking methods can be put there in these forms. So there are incredible lots of options, which is not so simple. So it's hard to I don't know. So it's not too easy to learn all these things. This is the price of the flexibility. So if you create a really flexible tool, there will be a very complicated interface to manage this flexibility. I think this is a general rule. But this complexity is not obligatory, because if somebody wants to run a simple project with less option and not really complicated data collection forms and not too complicated database background, it's quite easy to put together this kind of the project. So if somebody would like to start a very simple project with one data table and more, maybe 20 fields or 10 fields, and this project is a public project, so no rules and access right settings needed. Maybe it can be done within a quarter or just 10 minutes needs to create a new project. But the more complex projects takes hours or days to put together everything and test all the settings. So we also provide data analysis and computation tools for the users. We just started to developing AirShiny interface for data visualization, and we also have an R package, OBM R package, which can help to connect to the database and fetch data, and it support lots of reporting options and the connection with the web interfaces as well. And we continuously working on support this area, which is started to be more interesting recently for the conservationists to do some analysis on the data, and that's why we started to work on the computation support. So we have computational servers, background services provided by provided by the EOSC, the European Open Science Cloud, where we have high capacity computational servers for those computation which needs a huge server capacity, computational capacity, and we develop tools for use this computational capacity in an easy way. We also have connection with external tools, such like data repositories. So I think the metadata is a very important thing related to the biodiversity data, and sharing the metadata is an essential thing to do in every kind of biodiversity related databases. Maybe this is the main reason that we started to support support the easy connection with the external data repository system. Here you can see the Dataverse connection interface. The meaning of it is this: the people can upload metadata or data into external repositories from their databases, so they can get DOI numbers, identifier for their data, and they can share and publish metadata or data. We also support some lots of community-based things. For example, the community-based translation. We have a community-based translation interface to translate the mobile application and the web application interface. Also, we use community-based documentation. It's running on the GitHub, and anyone can join to improve the documentation, or just mark the problems, highlight the problems, and help people who actively working on the documentation to improve the documentation. And there are some user contributed documentation manuals and video tutorials coming to these documentation projects, thanks to the people who help in this project. The community-based development also an important part. All of our source code developed software on the GitLab, mostly some part on the GitHub. All these projects are open, and people can join to the development. And finally, one more important thing. The community-based support to improve the project planning and management. So there are courses, discussion, debates, workshop where the Open BioMaps user can share their best ideas, best practice, and help each other. And this is, I think, the biggest help to do better data collection. I would like to take the opportunity here to highlight the difference between the bad data and the good data, which is related to the VER principles, where the last letter is a problematic letter, I think. Everybody agreed that the biodiversity data, related data, should be findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. But the reusable is a problematic thing because lots of data coming from lots of projects, huge amount of data, which is not reusable because it's not usable at all. It's meaningless data, lots of meaningless data coming, and this is it's an illusion of citizen science, I think. So now it's a balloon that people produce usable and reusable data, but they just produce data which will be stored for a long time, and it cannot be used for any purpose because there wasn't any question behind the data collection. There are lots of problems with the data, and this caused the storing the data and keep accessible and findable and interoperable data. This cost ultimately paid by the nature with the carbon footprint, because the data storing is not free. data storage is not free, the internet is not free, running servers is not free. It is a hidden cost. The people not see this cost. But if we produce tons of megabytes of pictures, this is very expensive to store them, and almost nobody would like to say this data may be not used ever, but it's much easier to jump into the illusion that our data will be good for something, maybe at one day will be used. But the price of this illusion is very high, and that's why I think it's a bit dangerous to support the easy to use interfaces and stupid simple interfaces to create to support citizen science project, which can collect lots of raw data, for example, or lots of different kind of data, and that's why the Open BioMaps mainly focuses on the professional, the needs of the professionals, not for the citizen sciences. We support the citizen science project, especially when the professionals start a citizen science project with real question and good question, and they just collect those data which will be really used and good quality data. And we not support this that way, that we exclude any projects from the Open BioMaps, but the simple rule that our interfaces is not really simple, not stupid simple, is a way to support the professionals even rather than the citizen science projects. So that's all I wanted to tell you here. Thank you very much.